The country of Egypt has so much history and culture that we couldn't cover every single thing in part 1. So I'm back here again with part 2 of 10 of the biggest lies and misconceptions about Egypt. Welcome back to FTD Facts. My name is Leroy Kenton. This video is going to be another exciting one, very eye-opening, so definitely watch until the end. We're counting down from 10 all the way to number 1. So I want you to watch this video until the end so you don't miss any of these lies. Starting with lie number 10, sandstorms and extreme heat all the time. See, this is one of the biggest misconceptions about Egypt, is that it's just a big desert and therefore there's all sandstorms happening all the time and really hot weather all day, every day. Well, the capital of Egypt, it has a hot desert climate. However, instead of being such a very dry land, it being so close to the Nile Delta, it makes it a city that is very humid actually. Temperatures are usually between 30 to 35 degrees Celsius and winters are pretty mild, although temperatures can fall below 10 degrees Celsius at nighttime. So it's not all scorching heat all year round. For number 9, no arts and entertainment scene. A lot of Westerners actually tend to form the idea that Egypt isn't really involved in arts and entertainment, but the reality is that in the Middle East and the Arab world, Egypt has played a huge role in the arts and entertainment industry, including film and theater, television, music production. Back in the 1950s, actually, Egyptian cinema industry, it was the world's 3rd largest. Since 1976, Cairo has held the annual Cairo International Film Festival, which has been accredited by the International Federation of Film Producers Associations. Another misconception about Egypt, coming at number 8, is that Egyptians all live in tents. Outside of the main cities, Egyptians live in small communities and different clusters around oases, as well as different roads and transport routes, including the Nile River. Also, you'll find villages that have houses built of mud and goat skin. You'll find those in the Nile Delta. But in the main cities, Egyptians do not live in tents at all, nor are they always out camping. They actually have buildings and houses and streets like so many other countries in the world. So you can toss that imagination out of your mind because that's not the case in Egypt. Not everybody's in a tent. Okay, so the lie number 7 has to do with swimming in the Nile River. Egyptians, they definitely don't do that. It's actually very dangerous. Some parts of the Nile are impossible to swim, where the current is very strong. And other areas, you're gonna find a lot of solid natural rock there that make it impossible to swim without getting seriously damaged. On top of the risk of running into a crocodile in the Nile and the fact that there's so much waste and dead animals thrown into the river. So for all these different factors listed, you'll see why swimming in the Nile isn't the best idea at all. With that said though, the Nile River is a landmark of Egypt and definitely something that foreigners are fascinated to actually see with their own 2 eyes. For number 6, Egypt is ancient Egypt. Okay, so there's no denying that ancient Egypt definitely left its mark on the planet and left behind some fascinating places even to explore, like the pyramids and things like that. But besides these historical places to see, you can actually go hiking to the summit of Mount Sinai at St. Catherine's Monastery, among other things, like going scuba diving in the Red Sea, as well as other activities that will definitely fill up your time if you go and visit Egypt. Okay, and now since we reach halfway in this episode, I want to take this time to shout out our members. Thanks for supporting FTD Facts the way you do every single month. And if you want to become a member of FTD Facts, where you can support us with a monthly membership, the link is below in the video description section. Lie number 5, Egyptians wear Jellybeans to work. You know, it's almost impossible to really identify Egypt's traditional dress code because each part of the country has their own traditions and dialects and various styles of dressing. Even Jellybeans worn in villages, they're actually not even close in similarity to those that are worn by the Bedouins or the Upper Egyptians, for instance. Here's a big one. Khan el-Khalili is for shopping. Khan el-Khalili is actually more of a tourist market that Egyptians hardly ever even visit themselves. In fact, Egyptians have malls and department stores just like most other countries. Mall of Arabia is the biggest mall in Egypt that covers more than 22,000 square kilometers. Now, for number 3, here's one that I was more recently introduced to. Egypt is a non-vegetarian country. Contrary to this belief, the main dishes in Egypt are actually very vegetarian, like ful medames, that's fava beans. Then there's ta'ameya, also known as falafel. Then you have mekhalel, which is pickled eggplants, or even masa'a, which is eggplants cooked in an authentic Egyptian way. And the diet also includes koshari, which is mixed of rice and pasta and chickpeas and lentils and onions, tomato and garlic sauce. Delicious. And then, of course, I can't forget molokhia, which is something that you definitely have to try. It's one of those foods that you have to taste yourself because it's going to be so hard for you to understand it if someone's trying to explain it. Trust me, I've tried it before on several occasions. It's really good. The lie number 2, Egyptians know Farsi, aka Persian. Although Arabic and Farsi are both written from right to left, Arabic and Farsi, they're totally different languages. This is a common Western misconception of the languages, by the way. Now, you do find some overlapping sounds in both of these languages, but the similarity between Farsi and Arabic is kind of like similarities between English and French. You see, they're totally, completely different languages, but certain similarities can be found. Now, we end this episode off at number 1. Egyptians aren't funny. This one is just not right. Personal experience, Egyptians are some of the funniest people I know. And either way, Egyptians are infamous for their sense of humor. Maybe it's honestly from something in the Nile River. I don't know, it's probably in their gene pool. But either way, this is a fact that has been proven countless times. Egyptians, they resort to sarcasm and humor to express their own viewpoint or also to avoid any problems. When Egyptians tell a joke, oftentimes their purpose isn't really to make you laugh, more so it's to make themselves laugh. So I've been told anyways. All right guys, so that brings us to the end of part 2. This was a look at 10 more of the biggest lies and misconceptions about Egypt. Hopefully you enjoyed this one as much as you did part 1. If you haven't seen part 1, by the way, I'll link to it below in the video description section so you can give it a watch right now. Leave a like if you enjoyed this episode, and I look forward to seeing each and every one of you next time. Later.